sound recording, and Mark. Mark. Oh, hey. This is Steve from the Vorpal Gnome. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can certainly see me. I'm sitting around today doing videos and stuff like that, and in fact, I just put up a poll on the Vorpal Gnome Facebook page asking what kind of videos you would like to see. Short ones, 10 minutes, or longer ones, or a mix of both, or in chunks and parts, blah, blah, blah. Well, I used to do some videos here and there long ago, but I like to get back into it, and no time like the present. Currently, as many of you know, we are in the process of moving. We backed out of a location that we were going to do, and we are currently looking at a couple options. In fact, we went over a lease last night. So stay tuned on that. We should have good news very soon. That's really all I can say on it. So let's do a quick short video. This will help me with my editing techniques and other things because, oh boy, I'm pretty rusty, and I have I'm just using a Canon G11 camera currently, which is pretty old-ish. Good camera, still around. I mean, to me, it was like 8 years ago. I don't know. But anyway, I'd like to thank my lovely partner for providing this camera. She's awesome, and she puts up with me. Anyway, so hi. Let's start with me just talking about the crown jewel of my collection. I'm just going to go over this really fast for you. That would be The Enemy Within. Probably the greatest campaign ever made. I know there's some Call of Cthulhu campaign that people rave about, something about masks. It's really good. But this is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition. The best role-playing game ever made. And you may disagree, and you're welcome to do that. It will fall on deaf eyes and ears, my friends. So, what does it say on the back? And at the appointed time we shall rise from our secret places and throw down the towns and cities of the Empire. Our brethren shall pour forth from the forest to slay and burn. Chaos will cover the land, and we, the chosen servants, shall be exalted in his eyes. Hail to Zinch, changer of the ways. From Nijwar Thaka Lijembar Zinch. Anyway, so yeah, Enemy Within was a great campaign that came out back in the 80s. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition, 1986. I got into it about 87. I already been reading White Dwarves as a kid. White Dwarf magazine at that point was a lot of stuff. I'd seen a lot of adverts for Warhammer, of course, and roleplay. I wasn't as interested in the miniature battle game. It was hard to get the minis where I lived in Germany at the time. But it was certainly easier to get the role-playing books, especially with trips to England, which is closer to Germany than, say, here in Victoria, British Columbia, the loveliest city on the planet. And it, yeah, I fell in love with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the career system, the fact that it is essentially Call of Cthulhu meets Dungeons and Dragons. It is, to me, amazing. Like, just grim and gritty for like a 12-year-old. It was 11, 12-year-old. It was a truly remarkable thing for me at that age. And this is a really interesting relic. I would like to thank Brian, who I got this from. And it is, because as you can see, it is really just not typical to what the products were that came after it. For instance, it is like a module, like a D&D module. It's got some cool little handouts and stuff. You also have fold-out maps that have hex grids on the back. Oh my gosh. And oh my gosh, we got to keep this video short. So let's get the... Oh wow, what is this? This is a thick. I mean thick. T-H-I-C-C, thick, as the young folks say today. Look at that. You can hear it. Hear it. You can feel it just by the sheer volume it has. Amazing. And these handouts are also incredible. The Council and Burghers of Bogenhofen announced that the grand opening and annual Schaffenfest will be held on the town meadow this Mitterfuhl day. I love their weird bad German. It's so cool. And it's actually very reminiscent of the German I speak today because, you know, I haven't lived there for a long time and, you know, get older. There's an imperial calendar in here, where of course is Altdorf. Sehr gut. Großesberg or something. But, you know, the Koningsplatz and all those other cool, like, neat things. And it was marked the first time I had ever seen, when somebody I knew had picked this up at the time, that I'd ever seen, like, any, like, the geography of the empire in the old world, which is an analogous to Europe, of course. A dark reflection, if you will. They of course, oh look, recycled artwork. Very common. I mean, they were on a budget, of course. But yeah, this is inside, of course. Gotta love those hexes. Yeah. You could say if you dance around with this, it would be a hexentant. So, this, of course, being the very first, the Enemy Within campaign, history of the Empire, the political structure of the Empire, the religion of the Empire, the geography of the Empire, soldiers of the Empire. It's, I mean, there's, of course, Shadows over Bogenhofen, a classic adventure. And then you have these things, and oh, look, there's stuff that's written in here. I actually love seeing stuff that has stuff written in it. You might devalue it to many, but to me, it's simply awesome. And then after the escapade, the adventure should be encouraged to carry on to Bogenhofen, and the next adventure in the series, Shadows over Bogenhofen. That's the trip to Bogenhofen takes 4 days and is uneventful. Or is it? Anyway, it kicks off the Enemy Within campaign, which goes over several books. Some of them better than others. I actually do like Something Rotten in Kislev, not just because of the Hamlet pun, but also for a variety of other reasons. But I also like Castle Drachenfels, which to many was terrible. I enjoy it. I have a copy floating around somewhere. But what I collect Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay first edition items, and sometimes I double up on items, and it is the bee's knees for me. I am curious to see what your favorite role-playing games are. I mean, not just in sense of rule structure and dice mechanics, and just what captures your soul. Like, once I played this, I was done. Like, that was what I wanted to play, and I weaned off of AD&D pretty quickly and trying to, like, convince my friends to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. There, of course, is other games, or there, of course, are other games that I loved, such as Slay Industries is another favorite, Cyberpunk 2020, and Talislanta, which I got into, I would say, a year or two after Fantasy Roleplay, because Talislanta was just interesting. It was fascinating. Like, there was, like, I don't think there were even humans in there. It was just no elves was how they advertised it, but fascinating stuff. But yeah, there are so many role-playing games out there, and it can be intimidating for new players just getting into it. I always recommend, well, I now recommend Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which is, as I'll probably say a few times through these videos in the future, is the best iteration of Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, I love 1st edition. It's what I started with. There's always nostalgia. It's a massive, there's nothing like nostalgia. The fact is, like, 5th edition is a great entry point for any role player. But there are so many other there's literally thousands of role-playing games. Like, where do you start? What should you get a group? Should you go on Roll20? What do you do? Do you watch videos? And you can watch videos now of people playing role-playing games, which is great. I mean, there was nothing like that when I was a kid. just magazines. Magazines, so like Dragon Magazine and White Dwarf were my massive entry points. Box sets, the D&D cartoon, which is I'll often rant about. It's not very good. And you still like it because it's old and you grew up with it. And I'm always very curious about how people who are much younger than me get into role-playing games. Like, I mean, for my kids, it was easy to get them into it because they're, heck, one of my son's initials is DM. His first and middle name, obviously. Another one is named for Jack Vance. So, like, giant nerds. So getting him into gaming was relatively easy. But if you don't have that background of a parent or aunt or uncle who is super into it, how do you get into this? How was it? Videos? Was it school? D&D clubs at school. Like when I was in school, like doing anything Dungeons and Dragons was no. I could get away with a little bit more, but even still, people would view you as a Satanist or a terrorist or something. Like something horrible, because obviously you're summoning demons with your weird cops and robbers fantasy game. So it's a super interesting. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in. I hope you do not mind me rambling with all the ums and the ahs that I'm just too lazy to edit out. I do a lot of this off the cuff and do weird things like, oh, look at this little guy or gal. Oh, I love beholders. Oh my goodness. And this one's a zombie beholder. Hello. What if this one, was it Goristro or Gorizo or Goristro, who sounds like some kind of, he opened a restaurant. Hey, how's it going, buddies? I'm opening my restaurant. It's a cafe. It's really cool. Do board games and stuff. And oh my gosh, my beholder buddy. Hugs. Aw. Very cute. And, but we cannot forget the sweet fairy dragon named Otto. And a Remoraz, which, by the way, that face, that is so adorable. Oh my goodness. Oh. Thank you once again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this first video, which really talked about nothing but the enemy within. At some point I would like to go way into the enemy within campaign, like delve deep into that, or defend something rotten in Kislev or whatever. That would be so much fun. I also might do a podcast because I like to talk a lot, and I'm probably over time now, so I should probably call it. Anyway, Theon, love you, buddy. Spoilers?